My mother attended a workshop at Laurel High School my junior year in high school. Mr. Fisher was there doing a workshop on financial aid, and being a first generation college student, we knew nothing. I applied to A&T the first time. I actually was denied because they told me that they had reached their out-of-state quota. And I was devastated because, again, that was the school that I was going to. Since I was 12, I had already made up my mind that's where I was going. And he called down to the Dean of Admissions, got me an appointment. We sat in the Dean of Admissions office. They showed us this wonderful video about all these brigadier generals that graduated. I mean, he just really kind of laid it on thick for me. And then afterwards, he called my counselor while I was sitting there and just basically said that he needed to double check and make sure the numbers were correct. He went to his second-hand man, came back and welcomed me to A&T right there in the admissions office. So I was pretty excited. I think the biggest difference really for me was that college afforded me opportunities and exposure that I may not have had. Not to mention just the social interaction and the things that you learn when you meet different types of people. You know, college teaches you education. It also teaches you survival techniques. Human resources really is the profession of making sure that individuals that come to work for an organization don't have to worry about any of the extraneous things that go into doing work that would take them away from doing what they come to do on a daily basis. I just make sure that everybody, gets along, that, they come to work, they can focus on getting their job done. And on the flip side, I walk a very fine line every day, really, because I have to gain the confidence of the employees to talk to me about things that are going on, if they're having issues, etc. But I also have to have the ear of management to kind of convey that without naming names. So, walking that fine line every day is a little stressful. You definitely have to have thick skin, because HR, while it is one of the most important functions, not that I'm biased about it at all, it also is probably one of the most underappreciated positions, because you're always, if you have to say that there's no pay raises, they think it's coming from you. It's not coming from you, but you're the messenger, so you know what happens to the messenger. You've got to be, persistent. You've got to be tolerant. You have to be forgiving of yourself, because, you make mistakes and things go wrong, and you have this elaborate conversation plan to have with someone, and it does not turn out the way that you thought it was going to turn out, or you have that perfect candidate and they take another job. The roughest part, and I've been on both sides of the fence. I mean, obviously from a professional standpoint, I've had to terminate people, and I've been terminated. So I understand, both sides of the table, but that is the one thing that is probably the hardest. Even when it's deserved, meaning they've done something that's egregious, or they've broken, policy, or they've just been repetitive, whatever the situation is, but it's the worst conversation to have. I think when I first got into HR, I was working actually at a hospital, and we had to develop a new process for recruiting nurses, because there was a nursing shortage at the time. And one of the most satisfying things that I did was actually in terms of developing the program to recruit these nurses from various colleges. And I felt really good about it, because I remember hiring some of those people. They stayed, with the hospital, and really blossomed and flourished. And so I felt like I really had, my hand in doing that. There are things that you absolutely have to have. You've got to have tools to be successful. You've got to have resources. You've got to have, a support system. And so you've got to be able to, ask for it. And if you can't get it that way, then try to use another way, but just continue to fight for what you're entitled to and you deserve. And all it takes is one person to help you get from point A to point B.